I like racing with my balls. Hang on, let me explain that. To anyone who has been subscribed to me for a while, you'll know that this video is one of my biggest on the channel. And I kind of hate it. So, to celebrate its 1 year anniversary coming up, I wanted to do a small rehash on one of the games I spoke about in this video. To give a brief summary of Tower Unite to those who haven't played it yet, it's a community-based hangout game where you can interact with other people across the world and do a multitude of different things such as minigolf, gambling, arcade racing, and more. But out of everything this game has to offer, the one aspect I can't seem to escape is ball race. Ball race is exactly what it says on the tin. You get dropped into a map, stuck in a ball, and have to race both yourself and others to the finish line. I could end the video there and say that there's nothing more to ball race, but I would be completely wrong. To give you all a proper understanding of what makes this game special to me, we have to understand what makes it different to its largest competitor. Now, I hate to be the one to say it, but I really don't like Super Monkey Ball. Before I get flamed in the comments by everyone, just hear me out for a second. I think Super Monkey Ball has a brilliant sense of personality that exudes its wacky arcade gameplay style in spades. I absolutely love the art style of the game, everything from the vast and never-ending skyboxes to the inventive cast of characters, as well as simple things like the timer animation during each level or the colourful and vibrant menus. Monkey Ball screams fun with every fibre of its being, yet I absolutely can't stand its gameplay in any way, shape or form. I understand that the game has a high skill ceiling and certainly isn't the easiest game to pick up and play. I also understand that the developers of Super Monkey Ball had difficulty in mind when creating it, but I just can't get my head around its main mechanic. Essentially, Super Monkey Ball isn't about you controlling the ball, it's more about you controlling the actual stage. It makes for this authentically arcadey experience that is almost too much to bear. It makes me feel disorientated after just a handful of minutes playing, and falling off the stage in this game gives me more heartburn than dying to a boss in Elden Ring. I find myself having to tread carefully to even enjoy the game in any way, which makes the game practically void of excitement for me. I took the plunge for this video and decided to complete all of Super Monkey Ball Monkey Mania to perhaps come out with a differing viewpoint, but I just can't see a world where I would go back and replay it. Worlds don't have any sense of difficulty progression, as level 4 can sometimes be 10 times harder than level 7, which can make getting through each world an absolute pain. I appreciate how short each stage is though, and when I do get a clean run through a level it feels amazing, but the frustration that also comes from it really dulls down that high. This opinion of mine is only based on the 2 Monkey Ball games I have actually played, so if any fans of the franchise do feel like I'm missing out on a certain experience, please do let me know. Or maybe I just have a skill issue, you need to tell me. But considering as a kid I did this to the box art, I think this says enough about my thoughts. So now that we have that out of the way with, let me explain what makes Ball Race even better than its predecessor. The first and most important thing to mention about Ball Race is the gameplay itself. For me personally, being able to control the ball itself rather than the level around vastly improves the replayability and fun factor. Having control of the ball makes platforming much more precise and direct, which I think suits this gameplay style extremely well. Going back to my Elden Ring mention as well, I think Ball Race does a much better job at creating a feeling of skill progression as you get faster and faster with each play session. Your results feel more rewarding thanks to this extra level of control you have, and creates an immense feeling of satisfaction upon reaching the end quicker, even if it's only by a handful of milliseconds. The timer in Ball Race feels like it matters, compared to Monkey Ball where it's not that important to me. I think the only game that truly rivals this feeling of split-second improvement is Mario Kart, but I do think that is an obvious answer that most other people would say. The simplicity of just using forward, back, left and right is appreciated in both Monkey Ball and Ball Race, but I think is better designed in the latter. It makes the game feel instantly understandable, which is super helpful for people playing it for the first time, even if they can be unbearably slow sometimes. Another thing I believe Ball Race excels at is world design. Whilst it certainly isn't as grand as the set pieces seen here, it's much better rounded and each stage in the world feels uniquely its own while still using the same assets. I do also give the developers of Tower Unite a bit of a free pass considering it's an indie project going up against one of Sega's most established IPs, but something about these maps is just done so well that I never get tired of them. When playing Monkey Ball, I find the overall world design to be spectacular, but nothing feels endlessly replayable, and that's where Ball Race stands out. These levels are each their own and don't cling onto any typical level layout like World 1 being a grass level and World 8 being a volcano. In fact, there isn't even a story to Ball Race at all. It's literally just a multiplayer game that you can hop in and play. Maps are instead separated by difficulty. The Woodlands is arguably the easiest map in the game, with basic paths consisting of wide areas and bare-bones structures from start to finish. This level is a great way to introduce a lot of ball races mechanics and physics to a new player without feeling like the Dark Souls of balls. You then have a world like Chromadro, which almost feels like a big brother to the Woodlands. It follows a similar forest theme but ramps the difficulty up slightly by introducing fans, anti-gravity, and pinball things that launch you further from the goal than you ever wished to be. Or how about we take it to the extreme and enter what is, in my opinion, the hardest and my least favourite level in the game: Memories. Memories takes the absolute piss. It starts off inviting when you see a bright blue colour palette floating in a gorgeously endless void, but this world is one to not take kindly. Memories will absolutely tear you the fuck apart, and it's the ball race's true final boss. You have to fight against tight level design featuring spinning platforms, invisible flooring, as well as these stupid fucking things. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this level is just awful. Maybe it's the high skill ceiling that does it for me, but trying to get through this world without a single death is like trying to cross the North Korean border with a blindfold. If we ignore this one level, Ball Race has a fantastic catalogue of places to explore that each have their own attributes to make you feel either excited or nervous to play. Whilst I personally prefer the more stripped back stages as I get the most engagement from them, you may see yourself playing some of the harder worlds more often, which is good as when you're playing with others online, sometimes you may have to play a map you don't want to, but it could very well lead to you getting a new personal best. And getting a personal best in this game is hard. Much harder than you think. As someone who has sank about 70 hours into this game, I can safely say that the more you play and improve, the harder it becomes to achieve a better result. When starting out, as long as you don't die in the level, it's very easy to actually improve your time substantially after just an hour or two of playing, but once your times on the board get down to the top 500, 200, 100, maybe even top 50, improving becomes the ultimate test of skill. But as I've said before, a skill which feels endlessly rewarding. Ball Race certainly seems linear at first, but practically every level in the game has some sort of shortcut to take advantage of. They seem impossibly risky at the beginning, but over time they become the only way you seek to play. Ball Race's ability to keep me on an everlasting grind to perfection honestly needs to be studied, because pulling off shortcuts and then paying off is an ungodly feeling. When I load up the game nowadays, I don't even think about following the intended route anymore, and I prefer to put all my attention into mastering each and every shortcut possible. Thanks to the game's fairly realistic physics system, clipping your ball on the edge of the floor and getting extra height from it feels fantastic, and usually results in a time save every time you incorporate it into your gameplay. Adjusting to these subtle skips feels great as you level up and get that clout level to the maximum, and doing these skips is better when you have a group of players in your lobby that know how to do them as well. Tower Unite has a remarkably friendly community, and the people at the top of the scoreboards and on level 2000 are never thirsty for attention and honestly are just happy to help you and teach you some of the tricks each level has. I've learned so many skips from just watching other people do them, and this is a great way to improve as you can constantly be involved with the rest of the player base who are honestly just happy to have you there considering the game's extremely small player count. Compared to Monkey Ball, Tower Unite's rendition of the formula is a refreshing and rewarding take that is carried by its easy to learn and hard to master gameplay. My only critiques that I have with Ball Race are so minor that they aren't even really that important for the majority of players. Firstly, levels with moving platforms suffer from the terrifying curse known as RNG. Loading into a stage is never the same every time, and when you're aiming for a better time on the board, having a platform be too low for you without any involvement from you is definitely heartbreaking at times. But again, to people who aren't focused on speedrunning, this problem lacks any substance. My only other issue that I do have with Ball Race is what I like to call the fuck FPS, why does changing it impact how fast I can be on certain levels. For those unaware, Tower Unite has the option to change your FPS on the fly, which you'd think would only be useful for people who need to change their settings if they're on a bad computer, but instead, this setting can be used to do massive time saves that make levels like this one practically like cheaters heaven. It takes away from the skill showcased in levels without this problem, and I feel like it shouldn't be viable for world records, but that's just me. Again, skill issue. But other than that, I really don't have any issues with this amazing arcade baller game. It's fun to play with friends, it's fun to grind for records, and it's perfect for when you have 20 minutes to quickly play something. I think that most of my time on Ball Race has come from me playing it during a Discord call with friends, or just listening to a podcast on my other screen. I know that my feelings on Super Monkey Ball may feel like I'm denying its cultural impact, but that's truly just how I feel about this franchise. I know I've shilled Tower Unite to people before, but I really think this game is underrated and needs more eyes on on it than it currently has. Learning about its history going from a famous Gmod server to a full-blown indie project is super interesting, and I'll leave a link in the description to Richter Overtime's video on its origins. All of you should definitely go check it out. But yeah, now you know that I don't like monkey balls, but I like balls. Just balls. Racing around a track. Balls. Thank you all for watching this really kind of random and strange video. The reason I've been doing this video and the reason it kind of feels like it's out of thin air is because I'm actually having surgery, and I've probably already had surgery by the time this video comes out, and I just wanted to make a video and get it done like around that time frame. Also in July I'm not going to be on my computer for about half of the month, so I thought I may as well get a video out before then to hold you over for some time. For those wondering, my surgery is a proper full-blown thingamajig. I don't fully know what it is, but I may or may not sound quite different in the next video, and if so, I apologise. Again, thank you all for watching, and shout out to my members, my members, shout out to my members as I had said before. Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Thank you all for watching. Take care and peace. Oh, and also they just decided to randomly release a new map whilst I was making this video. So, go play it.